And what significance did this set of communications have in terms of your review and summary of the iClouds?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. I think these texts speak for themselves.
I'll sustain that objection.
Thank you.
Agent, in preparing summary exhibits, how do you pick the particular slides or communications you include?
Based on their relevance in comparison with the entirety of the investigation and all of the information that has been developed during the course of that investigation.
And I'm going to object to his characterization of relevance. I think that's a legal conclusion.
Overruled.
Thank you. And so in picking these sets of text communication from the iCloud, what relevance did these have to the investigation itself?
They were inquiries by Lori Vallow regarding JJ's death percentage and Chad Daybell's response to those inquiries.
Okay. And so in the defendant and her co-conspirators' words, what was JJ's death percentage?
He was at 0.
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled.
And in terms of, now that, the text message reflected that JJ was at 0, what did the text text from Lori Vallow reflect her response was upon hearing her son was at 0?
Again, Judge asked and answered.
That's been asked and answered.
Okay. Who initiated the inquiry about a perfectly orchestrated plan to take the children?
Lori Vallow.
Okay. Who initiated the question on whether they have to wait for it to be carried out?
Lori Vallow.
Okay. Who initiated the conversation about what actions they could take to further the plan?
Again, Judge, I'm going to object. Texts speak for themselves.
Overruled.
Lori Vallow.
Okay. Who initiated communications about further actions they could do to further plans on telestial issues?
Lori Vallow.
Okay. And remind us again, what is telestial issues?
Objection asked and answered.
Sustain.
Okay. And so telestial means earthly issues?
Objection asked and answered.
That's leading and sustained.
Okay. And so what, in view and context of the entire iCloud that you reviewed, the defendant's own words and her statements to the co-conspirators, what did the defendant's words or the co-conspirators' words about unencumbered and fully free mean?
It is a reference to whatever issues are present in Lori Vallow's life that are...
I'm going to object. He's speculating.
I'll sustain that.
Okay. Did you see conversation from the defendant in her own words with Chad Daybell or Alex Cox or others about having burdens in their life or barriers or obstacles?
Objection vague.
Overruled.
Yes.
Okay. And so in understanding that the defendant herself and her co-conspirators talked about having burdens and barriers or obstacles, in context of their own words, what did the phrase unencumbered and fully free mean?
To be free from those barriers or obstacles.
And looking at the text communications on slide 55, is this a reference to their future together?
Correct.
Okay. Now, if you could take a look at slide 57. Can you tell us why you included the contents of slide 57 in your summary?
To illustrate the relationship between Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow.
Can you, and this text communication happened right at the end or around the time of the text communications about JJ being at 0?
Yes.
Okay. Can you read into the record slide 57, please?
Line 61, it's a photograph sent from Lori-Vallow to Chad Daybell with the caption, "Surprises are waiting."
And then there's an image on that screen as well?
Correct.
Okay. Now, let's turn to the text communication reflected on slide 58. Why did you include these communications in your summary?
I included these communications because it demonstrates an understanding on behalf of Lori-Vallow that of a reality of whether Chad Daybell is physically present with her or not physically present with her.
Okay. Could you read into the record the text communications on slide 58?
Line 965 from Lori-Vallow to Chad Daybell. Very good description of what just happened. Wish you were really here to experience this with me. Line 954 from Lori-Vallow to Chad Daybell. Thank you for being mine. Wish I could wake up and kiss your sweet, tender lips for real. You are my everything.
Okay. And so when you see the phrase "for real" or "really here," what significance did that have in terms of their overall communications and exchanges?
There were a lot of communications between Chad Daybell and Lori-Vallow in reference to portaling to different spheres of existence or different places so that they could be together spiritually. These two texts indicate an understanding of reality versus fantasy.
Turning to the text communications reflected in slide 59. Why did you include these text communications?
These text communications reference a family trip that Chad Daybell was taking with his wife and children and relatives, and that Lori-Vallow and Chad Daybell were both upset by the fact that he had to spend time with his family.
Can you read these into the record, please?
Yes. Line 860 from Chad Daybell to Lori-Vallow. I will join you. Partly why I am so sad is my Boise trip has turned into a trip with extended family. Not happy about it. Line 859 from Lori-Vallow to Chad Daybell. How much more of this can you take? Line 858 from Chad Daybell to Lori-Vallow. They want to go to Craters of the Moon National Park. I can't take much more. So trapped. Line 857 from Lori-Vallow to Chad Daybell. Are we supposed to wait forever?
And if you could read slide 60.
Line 856 from Chad Daybell to Lori-Vallow. No, but the next 2 days will be torture. Thankfully, I will be alone most of Wednesday and beyond. Line 854 from Lori-Vallow to Chad Daybell. Is that what he wants? For me to sit around waiting for you endlessly and you miserably wasting time just doesn't feel right. Line 853 from Chad Daybell to Lori-Vallow. I agree, it feels so drawn out. Line 850 from Lori-Vallow to Chad Daybell. It's 3 broken heart emojis.
And let's proceed with slide 61. Those.
Line 844 from Chad Daybell to Lori-Vallow. I'm just so frustrated. I'm sorry, honey. Line 843 from Lori-Vallow to Chad Daybell. You can't just keep tearing my heart out. I really can't take it anymore. I'm sorry. Line 842 from Chad Daybell to Lori-Vallow. It is tearing both of our hearts out. Please look beyond the next 2 days. Line 841 from Lori-Vallow.
I apologize.
To Chad Daybell. What about the past 2 days? I didn't even get to talk to you on your birthday. I'm clearly not a priority. I just don't want to be so sad all the time and do heartbroken.
And 62.
Line 840 from Lori Vallow to Chad Daybell. If you really loved me, you wouldn't want that either. Line 839 from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. I could have talked, but the girls were there. I truly love you with all my heart. Line 836 from Lori Vallow to Chad Daybell. You should give all of your love, you should give all of you love and your attention to your wife and family. I'm just a distraction. Go have fun with your family. I really do want you to. I just can't be in the way anymore. If things change, then we can talk. But we have nothing until things change anyway.
Do you want to pause here or finish the text exchange?
I believe there's just one or two more slides.
Could you read slide 63, please?
Line 833 from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. Oh, honey, that is so crushing. I feel so destroyed inside. You know my love for you is deep and real. I want change. I'm constantly begging for change. I want you. Nothing else matters. But I am hindering your life, and you deserve better. I love you so intensely. Line 832 from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. But I will leave you alone, as excruciating as that will be, until I hear from you. Line 831 from Lori Vallow to Chad Daybell. You can't say to me nothing else matters, because everything is before me. If that's what the Lord wants, then I just need to do something X so I can pull myself out of this deep despair. It's not like me to be this way. It's been way too much for way too long. Line 830 from Lori Vallow to Chad Daybell. The pain is unbearable.
One more. And if you could read slide 64.
Line 829 from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. You are right. Put me aside until things change. Yes, the pain is unbearable. Line 828 from Lori Vallow to Chad Daybell. Are you going to threaten me that I'm unprotected for doing so? Line 827 from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. Absolutely not. I'm so upset at the circumstances that I am demanding they protect you more than ever. Line 831 from Lori Vallow to Chad Daybell. You can't say to me nothing else matters because everything... I'm sorry, that's a repeat.
Okay.
That's an error. I apologize.
No, that's all right. And then...
I think there's one final slide.
Okay. The slide, if you could read slide 65.
Line 825 from Lori Vallow to Chad Daybell. I'm so alone without you. It is devastating. Line 824 from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. I feel so alone too. We are surrounded by celestial relatives that are simply obstacles. I'm so sick of it. Line 823 from Lori Vallow to Chad Daybell. Me too. What is it that you really want? Line 824 from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. I want to be with you. That is my greatest hope and dream. I would happily join you tomorrow if it felt like heaven would not strike us down.
That was a fairly lengthy set of text communications. Why did you include this conversation in the summary?
I included it to demonstrate the dynamic of the relationship between Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow and the designation of their family, their relatives, as celestial obstacles.
Okay. And celestial obstacles to what?
To them being together.
Okay. And then you said the dynamic of that relationship. Can you help us understand what you meant by that?
Charles Vallow was
Not on
no...
an objective foundation.
Sustained.
Okay. In your previous answer, you used the words that I did it to demonstrate the dynamic of their relationship. In your review of the hundreds of thousands of data points of this account, did you see exchanges between Lori Vallow and her co-conspirators?
Yes.
Okay. And in those communications and pictures and images, did an appearance of a relationship or dynamics of her relationship with Chad Daybell become apparent?
Yes.
Okay. So when you said you included this text exchange conversation as an example of the dynamic of their relationship, can you explain to us what you meant by that?
What I meant by that is that their relationship is the driving force behind the crimes that are alleged in this case.
Okay. And that the telestial relatives, the earthly relatives, are the obstacles.
Correct.
Now, let's turn to additional communication on September 3rd. Remind us again, what date was it that Tylee Ryan was last seen alive?
The last sighting of Tylee Ryan alive took place on September 8th of 2019.
Turning to communication from September 3rd of 2019, could you read slide 66 into the record, please?
Line 269 from Alex Cox to Lori Vallow. Wi-Fi is in. What you doing? Line 267 from Lori Vallow to Alex Cox. Working on Z's. What did you decide on username and password? Line 264 from Alex Cox to Lori Vallow. Network name is anti-layman. PW is too many kids.
And that's a number 2, not the word.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Line 263 from Lori Vallow to Alex Cox. Funny.
Okay. Let's finish and review that next slide. Could you read slide 67 into the record, please?
Line 262 from Alex Cox to Lori Vallow. And I can change it to whatever you want if you want to change it. I am proud of you. No more Z's. Line 261 from Lori Vallow to Alex Cox. We are trying to get to the bottom of what we need to do to eliminate them completely. I'm sure you will be told also. Line 260 from Alex Cox to Lori Vallow. Excellent.
If you don't mind pausing right here and looking at this conversation, could you explain to us why you included this part of the conversation between Alex Cox and Lori Vallow in your summary?
Yes, Alex Cox and Lori Vallow both moved to Rexburg, Idaho around September 1st and 2nd of 2019. I included this text mainly for line 264, which is the password Alex Cox designated for their network of too many kids.
Okay. And that's a text Alex Cox to Lori Vallow, correct?
Yes.
Did Alex Cox have any children living with him in Rexburg, Idaho?
No.
Of the 2 siblings, who had the children living in Rexburg, Idaho?
Lori Vallow.
Okay. I also see network name is anti-layman. In context of your review of all these records, did that, the records you reviewed and the investigation and your knowledge of this investigation yield to understand what anti-layman was a reference to?
Yes.
What is that?
Layman is another individual referenced in the Book of Mormon. He is a brother of Nephi, so it's simply just a word chosen for their password.
Okay. And
network name, excuse me.
That's okay. And is Layman known as a good guy or a bad guy?
A bad guy.
Okay. I also see the letter Z, and I understand that's been used throughout the iCloud. What is that a reference to?
Zombies.
And I also see line 261. There's a conversation where Lori is talking to Alex. What, if any, significance did line 261 have to you?
The significance of that is the partnership with Chad Daybell that lori-vallow had in this alleged work in which they were engaged in eliminating zombies.
Okay. And yet it's a text communication to Alex Cox, so why would that be relevant if it wasn't with Chad?
There are a number of communications between Alex Cox and lori-vallow that relate to the religious concepts that are discussed throughout the iCloud.
Okay. And the text, it says we are trying to get to the bottom of what we need to do to eliminate them completely. I'm sure you will be told also. And it was Alex who responded to Lori saying excellent?
Yes.
Okay. Moving to additional conversation on September 3rd, 2019. Can you read for us the contents of slide 68?
Line 259 from Alex Cox to lori-vallow. I am going to get lunch and probably go to the range to sight in my rifles. Line 258 from lori-vallow to Alex Cox. Fun. You need the practice. Line 257 from Alex Cox to lori-vallow. I do. Line 253 from lori-vallow to Alex Cox. Bad news on our brother. Line 252 from Alex Cox to lori-vallow. What's that? Line 251 from lori-vallow to Alex Cox. Z. Line 250 from Alex Cox to lori-vallow. Really? When was that?
And may I ask you to read slide 69, please?
Line 232 from lori-vallow to Alex Cox. Forced out, I think. Line 231 from lori-vallow to Alex Cox. With his anxiety, he wasn't strong enough to fight back. Line 230 from Alex Cox to lori-vallow. Line 229 from lori-vallow to Alex Cox. JJ is stronger, fights then off every day. Line 228 from lori-vallow to Alex Cox. Zach was a 3L. JJ is a 4,3L.
And slide 70.
Line 227 from Alex Cox to lori-vallow. That's when he yells, no. Line 222 from Alex Cox to lori-vallow. Okay. Line 221 from Alex Cox to lori-vallow. My lips are sealed. Line 220 from lori-vallow to Alex Cox. Good boy, learning more. I'll fill you in this afternoon.
Why did you include these last several slides in your summary of your observations of the iCloud?
I included them to demonstrate that Alex Cox was a participant and in this group in discussing these religious concepts, including designating people as zombies, and that he understood those things in these communications.
And who is it who conveys this information to Alex Cox in this text exchange?
His sister, lori-vallow.
Okay. Is that an indicative pattern you found in the iCloud that lori-vallow would convey information to her brother Alex Cox?
Yes.
Did you see any additional evidence that Lori would sort of supply Alex affirmation like we see on line 220, good boy?
Yes.
Was that a pattern you saw in the iCloud?
It was. We saw those kinds of I saw those kinds of communications on a number of occasions.
Okay. And in any of those communications between Lori and Alex, did you ever see Lori suggesting to Alex that people weren't zombies?
Can you rephrase that?
Sure. In the text communications between Alex Cox and lori-vallow, did you ever see communications where the concept of certain dark entities or zombies came up, where Lori was sort of pulling Alex back or telling him, no, they're not zombies?
No.
Now let's turn to slide 71. What are we seeing here?
This is from the videos section of Lori for Style. There was a number of very short videos that existed. This is just one of those that documents a trip that Lori Vallow, Alex Cox, Tylee Ryan, and J.J. Vallow took to Yellowstone National Park on September 8th of 2019. And this is the last known video of Tylee Ryan alive.
Why did you include this? Because it was the last one, where Tylee was alive?
Yes.
And the image on the screen is her, JJ, and Alex Cox.
Correct.
Your Honor, I can certainly, at what point does the court want to take a lunch break?
Just any time between now and noon is fine.
This might be a good place to stop, Judge.
Okay, we can do that.